brief name?
Andrew Perfetti.
And what do you do?
I own a retail shipping store, and I'm a professional photographer.
All right. And how do you make your living? Which one?
My shipping store.
All right. How did you get into that?
I was approached by a former employer of mine who had an empty commercial space and wanted to open a business there. And I graduated college with a business degree, so he inquired if I would be interested to work and run the store and then buy it from him. And I did that.
Did you come up with the idea for the shipping store, or did you do that together?
Nope. He came up with it. He researched it out as a franchise, had an interesting name in a growth industry, shipping stores. We flew down to Florida to the headquarters and learned how to run the store, learned about the business, and then came back and opened it up.
So how long did you work for him?
Prior to that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, about 10 years. Yep.
And then it became yours?
I worked for him prior to opening the store at a different business before. I worked for him at that store for 4 years before I bought it from him.
Okay. So the photography, and then where does that fit in?
Well, that started off as a hobby. I'm a musician, and I like to go to shows. When I wasn't playing, I wanted to go, but I had some social anxiety about it. So picking up a camera and going and taking pictures kind of helped me go with a purpose. And I did that, and some of the musicians and bands that I was taking pictures of noticed it and really liked my work and decided to start hiring me. So when I wasn't playing a show, I was taking pictures at shows. And then some more people saw my work, and some artists and some commercial, art agents started seeing my work, and I really got interested in it and decided to start expressing myself in it, and it took off from there.
You always good at photography? You're always interested in it?
Never.
What started it?
I watched a show called 6 Feet Under, and it's a very good drama, and there's a character in there who loses her dad and decides to pick up his camera as an outlet. She gets inspired by somebody else and starts recognizing her life through her artwork. And I had a similar situation. Didn't lose my dad. My dad got cancer, and mortality and things like that really started kicking up in my head. And I realized I needed some kind of outlet to document my life in some way. And inspired by that show, I picked up a camera and really got into it.
Were you good at it right away?
No. I got my dad's Nikon from him, this old film camera that I wasn't allowed to touch when I was a kid, and because I couldn't afford to buy a digital camera. And he gave it to me, and I went out and bought a lot of film at Walgreens and just started taking pictures all the time, and then started seeing what other people did, started trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, and studied on it, and looked at other art forms as examples, and just by repetition, I started taking some really good pictures, probably about 9 months to a year after I started, maybe a little bit sooner. And then a band that I knew that saw some of my pictures asked me to come take pictures of them at their show for their album, and I was really nervous about it, and I said yes. So I actually bought a digital camera on eBay, and it showed up the day that I had to do this photo shoot, and I didn't have time to read the book on the camera or anything like that, so I just treated it like a film camera, did it all in manual, and took the pictures, and to this day they're still some of my favorite pictures.
So starting with the film camera and then going to the digital, was that hard, or was it easy?
No, it was actually, I kind of like set myself apart, because most people buy a digital camera and they just turn it into automatic and go take pictures, but since I kind of didn't have time to read the manual and didn't want to do that, I just pretended it was a film camera and took pictures the same way. And so most professional photographers, or people that really get into photography, you have to follow the same kind of rules, of exposure. And I guess that put me ahead right off the bat.
So what about the technicalities and the lighting and everything? Where'd you learn that?
Trial and error, study, obsession. You see a picture and you want to take a picture like that, and it just inspires you to figure out how they did it. And then through repetition and trial and error, you learn what works works and what doesn't work, and then repetition over and over again, you start taking so many pictures that you can kind of analyze what's going on and how to make it look right. And I remember about 2 summers ago, I was hanging out at this studio here, and my art form is photography, and everybody else paints and things like that, and I was getting so obsessed with just getting better and better and better that I'd be walking around with my friends and looking at things, go, oh, yep, ISO 400, f-stop at 5.6 at 120. I would just like repetitiously in my mind try to figure out what the exposure would be without a meter in front of it.
So now that you've been doing photography for how long?
Since 2009.
Okay. So is it still an outlet for you, or is it work now?
It's both. It's both. Now, I mean, it's a constant obsession. It's like the one thing I really feel like I'm supposed to be doing. But now that I've been recognized as, my work gets recognized a little bit, and it's now looking like more of a business. So the way I look at it is a little bit different now. It's not always as fun. Now it's stressful sometimes. I don't find myself like just picking up my camera and going out and finding pictures anymore. I'm thinking about how I can make money with pictures, so I'm studying different things and trying to find opportunities to go get those things instead of just kind of relaxing and going out and doing it.
Is that like a time thing though, because you have a store and you have the photography, so you only have so much time? If you only were doing one or the other,
Yeah.
it would be different?
When I first started, I didn't own the store yet, and I was just the manager, and I had like a set work schedule, so I was able to just go out and take pictures and go out and relax and learn and study and do things like that. And now that I own the store, I'm there sometimes 60 to 70 hours a week.
So basically you need more time for the photography.
Yes, I need more time for the photography. But now that I work all the time, I'm having like a lot of times I have to turn down photo shoots because I just can't get out. So weekends is that's when I can do it if my band's not playing, which lately hasn't been very often. So.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the area that we're in. Is it hard to do photography? It's obviously hard to do music in this area, we know that, but is it hard for that too?
No, it's not hard to do photography around here. There's a big demand for it, and quality photography is big in demand. But it's also an issue who you know. There's always opportunities for me to have my work seen in like art galleries and local publications, like the Reader prints my stuff on a fairly regular basis. And, but outside of that, commercial work, I do commercial work for AMSO, so my stuff's been seen in magazines, some national magazines, international magazines, but it's getting your work to the right people. That's the difficult part.
Do you want it out there more?
Yes, I do.
What do you have to do to do it?
I have to find more time to make opportunities, but at the other point, I'm trying not to rush it, and I'm not being lazy about it. But you can't force something to happen. You just have to be consistent. And with my work has been consistent, and now it's slowly starting to get in front of the right eyes, I guess.
So what can you do to create more time?
Well, my business, my retail business is in really rough waters right now. The economy and my location, of course, location is not something I can change in the immediate future, and my business is also going to be facing some construction outside that's going to close off my front door for about 9 months. So in the immediate future, there's really nothing I can do because I'm not going to be able to afford to hire any more help so that I can get out. But I'm just being more proactive about getting work on the weekends and work at night and taking opportunities that I used to turn down.
So how are you going to get through the construction? How's that going to affect you, the business? What is it?
It's going to affect me pretty catastrophically, but push forward, keep advertising as much as I can, keep consistently providing good service to my customers, try to make as many photo shoot opportunities happen as possible, which some things are happening. I'm getting more into weddings now, and getting some more work from some bigger bands, and doing portraits, which is something that I've kind of turned down for a long time. But now I'm taking the opportunity to do it. Portraits pay, depending on the clientele, pay really well.
So do you feel like you're giving up any of the artistry or something for you to do
yes.
commission work?
Yes.
Is that hard, or is it worth the money? Are you going to be happy making more of a living off of it?
Well, it's hard, but at the same time, necessity is the mother of all aspirations, I guess, or it probably doesn't sound right, but if you need to make money and you have an opportunity to do it, you do it, regardless of what your artistic intentions are going to be. Especially with photography, people will spend a whole bunch of money to go to some place like Walmart, where the quality isn't great, but they just want a good picture taken. What I do is, I'd like to think a step above that. I add some sort of artistic edge to it, and I try to show something in the person that I'm taking a picture that they wouldn't normally see, and that maybe some photographer wouldn't see, and provide some sort of joy in that person's life. So I guess sacrificing my artistic intentions to make a little bit more of a living. I have to do what I have to do for the time being, but there's hope for the future.
Well, if you're making money and you're still doing it and getting your name out there, maybe you're more enabling than sacrificing in the end.
Well, at the same point, my biggest fear is taking pictures I'm not proud of and having those pictures be out there, but I do it, and I just make a conscious effort not to put my watermark on them and take the paycheck.
If it's for somebody else and they really enjoy it, though, can you be happy with that?
Maybe. To an extent, yes.
All right. Well, what about like a year from now or like 5 years from now? Do you see yourself still with a store, doing more photography? Like, what are you striving for?
Oh, be photography. I don't think I would last 5 years behind the counter, another 5 years behind the counter at my store. I'd like to keep the store, I'd like to own the store. At some point in time, my intentions are, if business gets good enough to afford me the opportunity to be out more and getting my name out more as a photographer, I'd like to do photography as a living and keep the store as a side business. So
do you have to make more money at the store to enable yourself to be gone, or photography and music in order to be able
Well, I guess music isn't going to make me any money. But the more money I make at the store and doing photography, that's going to afford me more of an opportunity to be out of the store. Being out of the store means I have to pay somebody to be there in my place. My profit margin isn't that great as it is, so doing that is tough. It's a tough call. But the more photo shoots I do, the more money I make doing that, the more I can supplement my store. And the busier the store gets, the more that supplements the store. And that gives me that much more revenue to put towards employees.
So doing photography, getting paid for it, is going to enable you, though, to...
Yes, it's a conundrum.
So 5 years, 10 years, what kind of photography do you see yourself doing?
Well, commercial work pays. And I like doing commercial work because there's artistry involved in it that you can sort of calculate ahead of time. But my main passion has always been photojournalistic work. Telling some sort of story, showing humanity in people, give them the opportunity. When I first started getting out and taking more pictures outside of like the music industry, I spent a lot of time in the urban areas, downtown areas, and took pictures of just people I knew in interesting settings and kind of tried to tell their story a little bit. Things I'd like to do, I'd like to take pictures. I'd like to take pictures in more of like a medical field. Tell the stories of people suffering from like cancer or children's hospitals. It's something I'm trying to provide myself an opportunity to do. I would like to show people stories photographically that they wouldn't normally get an opportunity to see. Make people aware of certain things. That would be my passion, make a difference.
Something with meaning behind it?
Something that makes a difference, yeah.
All right. How could you get into something like that? Just start doing it?
Just get into it. I'm sure I could. I have done some things. I did something for Lifehouse where I was taking pictures of homeless teens. And it was a real challenge. I had to find homeless teens, and then I had to take interesting photographs of them without showing their face. And that was fun. It was a fun challenge. Getting into the medical field thing, I don't really know how to get into it, other than making some phone calls and finding out. But at this point in time, I don't have the available time to do it. But it's something I'd like to do.
So we need to find you some more time. All right, we can stop it.